I bought the phone at a flea market that's so rare you won't even find it on the internet. This is a Nokia 7210 prototype from 2002. And in this video we are going to explore what files, games, apps and sounds are still on it, and try to figure out who likely used this phone, because this device was never intended for sale or public display. But you might ask, what's a prototype? Long story short, prototypes are devices built before the final release. If a company wants to launch a phone, they first build prototypes to test the hardware and software, fix bugs, and optimize the final product. They were kept in secret by Nokia engineers, sometimes reaching only a handful of trusted partners. These units also reach career labs or gaming app developers for testing. After that, most are destroyed, but when a few survive, they become exclusive and valuable devices. So, how did a device like this end up with me? About a year ago, I found it at a flea market for $2. And if you know my channel, this is what I do. I hunt for deals on electronics, old and new, consoles, phones, all kind of gear, bring them home and show you everything on camera. Back then, I had no idea I was picking up something potentially worth hundreds of times what I paid. At first glance, this prototype looked just like a regular phone. I picked it up because I really liked its colorful look. When I got home, I didn't think too much of it. I just placed it in my phone collection box and forget about it. But how did I discover that I own a prototype? Only a year later, in July 2025, when I decided to sort my phone collection and sell a few units. Then I checked in more detail each unit that I had. When I got to the 7210 phone, on the back label it was clearly written PROTO, and next to it, property of Nokia. Then I started to realize what I actually bought for $2. And some codes like the FCC ID and IC, which are usually used for a device certification, were just replaced with X's. The IMEI was different too. It didn't start with 35 like most commercial units. Instead, it began with 004400, a prefix usually reserved for internal test devices. That's a clear sign this unit was never intended for public release. Near the SIM slot, I also found a sticker with unique identification codes, something internal for sure. So I'm definitely dealing with a prototype, as clear marked by the abbreviation PROTO. Not all prototypes are the same. Some are early stage units used only in labs, others, like this one, are more advanced, designed to be carried and tested in real-life situations, day by day. Because they are not intended for sale, they don't always follow full legal certifications or production standards. Some might have missing parts or labels, others might have placeholder components, and most of the time experimental firmware. To be honest, I have never even tested it when I bought it, even though I had compatible batteries and an original charger at home. But to my surprise, it worked perfectly. All the keys were functional, the screen was clear, no dead pixels, no spots, it was fully operational. And the first thing I tried was entering some key combinations. Let's do an IMEI check. It starts with 004400, just like on the back label. Now let's check the software version. Version 5.52, dated September 19, 2003. That's actually one of the latest firmware versions Nokia ever released for this platform, which means this prototype was updated all the way, since mid-2002 until September 2003. Because yes, if you press the warranty code, we will find out the phone was manufactured in July 2002, more than a year before the software version 5.52 was ever released. And remember, back in the early 2000s, updating a classic Nokia like the 7210 wasn't something you could just do at home. Today, updates are built right into our devices. You tap a button, it downloads, installs, and that's it. But back then, it was a different story. You needed a special Nokia software, and often a custom cable that didn't even come with the retail phone. It wasn't something a regular user would ever think of doing. This was the work of an insider, a tester or a technician. This device wasn't just updated for fun, it was maintained and used by someone who knew exactly what they were doing. And another detail caught my eye. The live timer shows 21 hours and 40 minutes of talk time. That's not a quick lab check, that's real day-to-day usage. So this prototype wasn't just sitting on a desk, it was out there, making calls. So I went to the call register to see who the previous user had been calling, but the history was completely empty. No missed calls, no received calls, no dialed numbers. Either it was wiped clean or call logs were never saved in the first place. That's when I decided to check the phone book, maybe something survived there. And that's when things got interesting. There were over 170 contacts saved directly in the phone's internal memory, not on my SIM card, it's empty. And these weren't random names, many sounded distinctly Scandinavian. Lars Jarsson, Mikovos Veni, Stine Mulit, and Henrik Longo. I mean, real people, most likely colleagues, testers, or stuff. Remember, Nokia's headquarters were in Finland, in Northern Europe, that explains it. Then it got even more curious. Mixed in with people's names, I found entries like Nokia Security, Helpdesk IT, Hardware Point, Mobile CSN. These sounded more like internal departments or support teams. There were also multiple taxi numbers, maybe used for work travel, and some entries were just strange, like Sexbit Records, which is an underground record store in Copenhagen, or Helfdenskø 38, a street address. Who saved a street address as a contact name? Unless it meant something. These weren't the contacts of somebody casually testing a phone for a week. Whoever used this prototype was clearly doing business, connecting with departments, services, maybe even partners outside Nokia. He or she wasn't just carrying it for quick tests. This phone was part of their daily work. And the clues didn't stop there. This phone's internal logs showed it has been used for mobile internet, about 2 hours of GPRS sessions in total. GPRS was one of the earliest forms of mobile data. We called it 2.5G back then, sitting between simple GSM calls and the faster 3G networks. It wasn't fast, and it definitely wasn't cheap, but it worked, allowing you to browse web sites, download small files, or grab a Java game or two. This prototype received exactly 240 kilobytes of data. That's tiny by today's standards, but in 2002, a lot. And the browser backs it up. In services, there are saved bookmarks like berlingske.dk, ben.dk, and ht.dk, Danish sites for news and local info. Under service settings, there are two ready-made profiles, Sonofon Web and Sonofon GPRS. This phone was already set up to go online. And yes, Sonofon is a Danish mobile network. It's wild to see a device this old already reaching the mobile web, and now 23 years later, connecting from anywhere is just normal. The vision was there. Moving on, the calendar was completely empty. Nothing saved. But in the to-do list, I found a note dated the 7th March 2007, mentioning phone numbers copied, 21st February 2008. That means someone transferred these contacts to another device. Could this phone have been in use all the way until 2007 or 2008? Who knows? So far, this isn't a shelf dummy. It's a working prototype with an internal IMEI, late 2003 firmware over a mid-2002 build, real call time, and Nordic data profile saved. If this really was used in the field, let's see if it was used to test apps. The applications menu should tell us. And yes, we can see this phone was used to run apps, and there are 3 on it to be exact. First, UiDemo. It's grayed out and can't open it, can't see details. The only thing I can do is to delete the app. My best guess? This was an internal demo. A small app used to showcase UI elements, animations, or test screens during development. Maybe a toolkit engineers used to verify layouts and fonts on early Color S40 phones. UiDemo fits that pattern, a leftover from testing that's now broken after later firmware updates probably. If you'd like, I can try extracting the file to inspect it on another Series 40 device. I'll buy a compatible connection cable and hope to find a good PC software somewhere online. Tell me in the comments if that's something you want to see and subscribe to see more. The second app is called Roskilde 2003 and it's linked to the Roskilde Festival, one of Europe's biggest rock music festivals, held every year in Roskilde, Denmark. Its presence on this phone suggests that maybe Nokia or an affiliate company might have explored a partnership with the festival. The app itself is very simple, just a registration screen asking for your phone number and a dialing code. This kind of setup could have been used to register attenders, distribute promotions, send festival updates, or even provide basic access features. And in 2003, with color screens and Java apps still new to the most people, some developers may have wanted to demonstrate how a phone could be more than just a calling device, how it could become part of your daily experiences. But we can confirm this collaboration 100%. I couldn't find anything online or on forums that directly links Nokia or any tech company to the Roskilde Festival in 2003. Maybe this app was never used there. And finally, Converter 2, the standard unit converter you'll also find on a retail phone like the 6610. Nothing unusual here, it's a stock Series 40 utility. After finding these apps, I keep wondering who actually used this phone. It was clearly both a work phone and a test demo device for apps. Maybe it belonged to one person who handled multiple areas, app testing and marketing. Or maybe it was passed around and used by several people inside the company. Either way, it definitely saw real use. But at work, sometimes you just want to take a break and play a game, right? Well, yes, and in this phone I found 4 games, 2 of which never appeared in the retail version. Let's check them out. The first game I tried is Red and Blue, and it doesn't come pre-installed on the retail 7210. At first I didn't really get it, so I read the instructions. You control the red pieces, and the phone plays blue. Your goal is to score as many points as possible by sandwiching one or more of your opponent's pieces between 2 of yours, and when that happens, those pieces flips to your color. It's a great little time killer at the office while you wait for emails. And to be honest, I'm doing pretty well, so I think I'll win this one. But the next game is another story. I don't think I've ever truly understood it, not even back when my grandfather played it on a real board. Backgammon is that classic board game everyone seems to know, except me. I just looked over the instructions, but I think I need more time to really get it. Still, it's an interesting find. This is the second game that doesn't appear on the retail Nokia 7210. Next up is Triple Pop, and it's probably my favorite. You rotate the center platform and match 3 or more balls of the same color. When they link up, they disappear and you get a point. It starts easy, with balls drifting towards the center, and the speed ramps up as your score goes up. It's also made by Nokia, and the build is version 1.6, which suggests it's an official release. I spent quite a bit of time with it. It hooked me, and I definitely play it again. And the last game, Bounce, a classic I've played a lot. There are a few versions of this game, but this one is my least favorite. On a tiny keypad is tough, you need precise taps, and if you hit an obstacle, you go back to the start, so it gets frustrating fast. From there, it usually goes 2 ways. Either you find a rhythm and you keep advancing, or you get stuck on a couple of simple obstacles and give up, especially at the beginning. It's another Nokia-made game, and the version here is 1.17, so I don't think there's anything special about this build. Besides the 2 retail titles, Triple Pop and Bounce, this phone also has 2 board-style games. That makes points to a more business-leaning user, the kind of person who'd open Backgammon and Red and Blue between emails rather than arcade titles. It's just another hint, but it fits the story. Let's open the gallery. There are 2 folders here, one for images and one for tones. Compared to my Nokia 6610, I see different pictures and a few different tones, so let's quickly go through each photo. Some images look stock, and others look like they were added later, but that's just my guess. Now let's listen to a few tones. There's nothing super special here. Honestly, my 6610 has a few more interesting ones, so I'll play a couple so you can hear the difference. If you recognize the track, drop it in the comments. Oh, and one last detail. All the images and tones are dated September 19th, 2003. That most likely means they were added with the firmware update on that date. We've covered pretty much everything that was on the phone. In messaging, there's no history at all. Nothing saved, just a voice mailbox number with a +45 prefix, so Denmark. In settings, nothing unusual. The language list shows Suomi, Dansk, Norsk and Islandska, which supports the Scandinavian origin idea. Feature-wise, it behaves like a retail phone, infrared for file transfers, FM radio if you plug in wired headphones, and tools like calculator, timer, and stopwatch, so it's like a normal phone. From my tests, I didn't see anything odd in the OS. It feels like a normal software build, not experimental. Maybe if I connect it to a computer, there are hidden developer options, but for now, that's a mystery. The owner was almost certainly Scandinavian. All the clues point that way. Most likely it belonged to someone in IT, either at a partner company or even inside Nokia. And we'll probably never know for sure. What we do know is the contact list and other hints suggest someone plugged into multiple areas, festivals, colleagues, collaborators, lots of connections. And even after weeks of digging, this phone still kept a bit of mystery. Online, I didn't find much. There's a forum post from over 10 years ago where someone bought a box of around 200 prototypes phones from a bankrupt game develop studio, and one of them was a Nokia 7210 prototype like mine. The person who wrote that post said they will come back with pictures, but they didn't, and I couldn't find any other 7210 prototype for sale or even showcased. There are prototypes sales sites and eBay listings, and prices vary a lot. Prototypes can go for hundreds of dollars depending on the software and whether they were lab units or field test units. So, how much is this one worth? I don't know. I'd start at a few hundred for sure. The apps on it, the saved contacts, and even the games could add value. If you know these prototypes phones, drop your insights in the comments. And if you have any idea for what we should do with it, tell me. What's next for this phone? Maybe a giveaway once we hit 50,000 subscribers? Or I might sell it? Or keep it in a collection? I don't know. I'm gonna tell you in another episode or in the comments. Either way, this might be one of my best finds, and I paid just $2 for a piece of Nokia history. History that's long gone. If you are new to the channel, check out the other videos. I cover all kinds of electronics, flea market or second-hand finds. We review them, fix them up when needed, and sometimes sell them or give them away. Don't forget to subscribe and I'll see you in the next episode.